In the 19th century, America was transforming. The Industrial Revolution had turned farms into factories and ordinary men into tycoons. Steel, railroads, and oil powered this new world. But one man didn't just ride the wave, he controlled it. John D. Rockefeller, the man who turned oil into power, money into a weapon, and capitalism into an art form. He became the first billionaire in modern history, and his methods, both brilliant and ruthless, still shaped how business works today. This is the untold story of how a quiet bookkeeper built an empire that changed the world. John Davison Rockefeller was born in 1839 in Richford, New York. His father, William Big Bill Rockefeller, was a con man, a smooth-talking salesman who sold fake medicine and vanished for months at a time. His mother, Eliza, was his opposite, disciplined, religious, and strict. She taught John three values: hard work, saving money, and faith in God. As a boy, John loved numbers and orders. He kept a notebook tracking every cent he earned and spent. Even as a teenager, he once said, "I would rather earn 1% of 100 men's efforts than 100% of my own." This idea, building systems instead of working alone, would later define his empire. By 16, Rockefeller worked as a bookkeeper in Cleveland, Ohio. He noticed something. Successful business weren't the loudest or the biggest. They were the most efficient. Every dollar had a job. Every risk had a reason. It was this quiet precision that made him unstoppable. In the 1850s, oil was a new gold. Discovered in Pennsylvania, it was used to make kerosene, the fuel that lay home before electricity. But the oil industry was chaotic. Prices changed daily. Refineries burned down. Many got rich one day and went bankrupt the next. Rockefeller saw something others didn't: stability through organization. He invested in a smaller refinery in 1863 instead of gambling. He focused on efficiency. He recycled waste oil. He bought in bulk. He used byproducts to make new goods like lubricants and wax. Every step of production was optimized. He didn't drill oil. He refined it better than anyone else. In 1870, he founded the Standard Oil Company with one goal: to bring order to a chaotic industry and make every drop count. Rockefeller's approach was simple but revolutionary. He treated business like a machine. Every part had to work together perfectly. He struck secret deals with railroads to ship oil cheaper than competitors. He built rival refineries not to destroy them, but to make them part of his system. When others refused to sell, he dropped his prices so low they couldn't survive. His guiding belief was, competition is wasteful, cooperation is power. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled 90% of Americans' oil refining. He built pipelines, warehouses, tankers, creating a closed ecosystem that no one could match. To the public, he was a genius businessman. To his rivals, he was just a silent conqueror. He avoided newspapers and fame, rarely gave interviews, and hid behind layers of companies. He didn't need attention. He already got power. But absolute control came with enemies. Other businessmen called him a monopolist. Politicians accused him of corruption, and the public began to see him as the face of corporate greed. In 1904, journalist Ada Tarbell, whose father had been ruined by Standard Oil, published a 19-part expose. Her work, The History of Standard Oil Company, described Rockefeller's secret deals, intimidation tactics, and manipulation of the market. It shocked the nation. In 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil was violating antitrust laws. The company was forced to break into 34 smaller companies, including what would later become Exxon, Chevron, and Mobil. The decision was supposed to end Rockefeller's power, but it only multiplied it. He owned shares in all those smaller companies. As their value soared, so did his fortune. By the time he retired, Rockefeller controlled an estimated 1.5% of the entire U.S. economy. In today's money, his fortune would be around $400 billion, more than Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos ever held at once. He became the world's first billionaire, a title no one had ever claimed before. But something changed in him after that. That man who once built a monopoly turned his attention to something new: philanthropy. Rockefeller believed that wealth came with responsibilities. He said, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." He began giving away much of his fortune, but with the same efficiency he used in business. He didn't just donate randomly, he built systems for giving. He funded medical research, education, and public health. He founded the University of Chicago, the Rockefeller Institute of Medical Research, and the Rockefeller Foundation, which still operates today. His money helped fund the discovery of penicillin, the fight against malaria, and the education of millions. In many ways, Rockefeller invented modern philanthropy, structured, scientific, and long-term. He wanted to make giving as organized as earning. When John D. Rockefeller died in 1937 at 97 years old, he had lived long enough to see his empire evolve and his name become a symbol. To some, he was the ruthless monopolist who crushed the competition and manipulated markets. To others, he was a visionary who brought order, efficiency, and philanthropy to the modern world. But one thing is undeniable: Rockefeller shaped the foundation of today's corporate world. Every time a company dominates its market, every time a billionaire launches a charitable foundation, you can trace that mindset back to him. He didn't just build an oil company. He built a blueprint for power, for organization, and for wealth itself. From a humble bookkeeper to the world's first billionaire, John D. Rockefeller turned oil into an empire and capitalism into an art. This is Past Unlocked, uncovering the hidden figures who shaped our world. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and unlock more of history's hidden truths.